So we move on to the next speaker. Dr. Sujata Mohan also doesn't need any introduction. She's prolific cataract refractive surgeon and also has one great experience in the field of phakic IOLs. So she will be talking about RIL design and her experience.
Thank you, Sheetal, and at the outset I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I don't claim to do 3,500 cases like what Kamal has shown, so I have a very limited experience with RIL, though I've been doing phakic IOL since 2006. So I'm just going to give you an overview about what is RIL and our little experience with that. And refractive implantable lens is a single-piece foldable phakic IOL which is placed in the sulcus in front of the natural lens to correct myopia, hypermetropia and astigmatism. It's made of biocompatible acrylic hydrophilic material. It has two peripheral holes and one central hole. So over a period of time they keep changing the design, but I think finally they settled on this. You can see there are two peripheral holes and there's a central hole, and it's supposed to give a vaulting somewhere between 400 to 700 microns. It does range somewhere between 200 to 1000, but most of the times it falls well within your expectations. And these two peripheral holes are to prevent, to have a good aqueous humor flow for high patient comfort, and also they make sure that every lens is tested for the power, quality and the modular transfer function before they are sold to the market. And looking at the specification, it is the optic size between 4.5 to 5.75 millimeters. Overall size is between 11.5 to 14. And they come with an diopter range of -1 to -24. Astigmatism can go up to -10, and hypermetropia from +1 to +3. And they are steam sterilized. They have a very good page stability. I think most of the lenses of uniformly form almost the same design, whether it is an ICL or IPCL or Biotech or RIL. Most of them have almost the same design. But it only depends upon how accurate the power balances and how good they are in preventing any pupillary block. And here the optic diameter ranges from 4.5 to 5.75 millimeters, and this central vaulting can even go up to sometimes between 1000 to 1200 microns. And overall length is between 11.5 to 14 millimeters depending upon how high the myopia is. And thickness of the peripheral haptic is 100 microns, which I think he was mentioning is almost similar to IPCL. It has two holes, which is about 500 microns here in the optic haptic junction, and the central hole is about 340 microns. And again, I think we already spoke about the different powers available. And so the power calculation, Partha has gone into detail about what are the important features when you're doing a power calculation. The most important being the anterior chamber depth, where you cannot implant a lens which is less than 2.8 millimeters. White to white is also very important. We also use the digital caliper for calculating the white to white. And most important thing in any IOL power implantation is refraction. So spectacle refraction has to be determined. And looking at the safety factors, make sure that the patient, some of these patients may have very thick pachy, so you have to rule out any posterior endothelial problems. So doing a routine specular microscopy is very important. And preoperative data, so uniformly for all refractive surgeons go for visual acuity, manifest refraction, keratometry, AC depth, whatever we have discussed. And more importantly in phakic IOL patients, because most of them are moderate to high myopes, we have to do a detailed fundus examination to make sure that they don't have any problems in the fundus. And if they do have, it has to be treated before we take them up for any refractive surgery. So we did a very small study. Our experience with RIL is for a very short time, and this is a retrospective study of about 54 eyes, the age ranging from 18 to 40 years. And the follow-up period was between 3 weeks to 2 years. And we followed all the protocols of the inclusion criteria and the exclusion criteria. And looking at the demographic, almost most of the patients were similar, male to female ratio was very similar. And age, majority of the patients were about somewhere between 20 to 30. A few of them were were more than 30. So you can see the majority of the patients in our group were between 20 to 30. And the refractive error, majority of the refractive error was somewhere between 10 to 20 diopters. And there were 6 patients who were falling below 6 and about 10 patients above 20. So mean anterior chamber depth was about 3.1, mean power corrected was 15.9, and the keratometry mean was about 44. So these were the preoperative evaluation which was done, and all surgeries were performed by a single surgeon. This is a video showing the implantation of a RIL. So normally we make two side ports, so it helps us to tuck in the plate haptic. Intracameral xylocard followed by viscoelastic is introduced, and a 2.8 millimeter incision is made, and the lens is introduced into the anterior chamber. You can see that the lens is a little bit flexible, so you have to make sure that you are putting it on the right side, and having the the small hole in the haptic helps us to identify which is the right size. So the hole is on the right side in the superior haptic and the left side in the inferior haptic. So it's very easy to tuck in, very extremely flexible, and it can be done by any surgeon. It's not a big game changer. You just have to wash out the viscoelastic. You can use a coaxial IA also to do it. I prefer not to leave behind any air bubble. Completely remove all the viscoelastic from the anterior chamber. It may take a little bit of time because you cannot go under the lens and remove it. Just try to remove it through the small holes which are present as much as possible. So in our results, the mean age was 32.48 years, mean preoperative myopia was 16.92, and the follow-up was between 1 to 24 months. So the uncorrected pre-op visual acuity was less than 6/60, and the best corrected pre-op visual acuity, the majority of the patients were within by 6/9, about 20 out of 54 patients. There were a couple of patients who had less than 6/24 or 6/18. Uncorrected post-op visual acuity improved significantly, to 26 out of the 54 patients had 6/6, and 15 patients had 6/9, and none of patients had less than what they had before surgery. The gain in lines, there was a significant gain in lines. About 25 out of 54 patients, almost 50% of the patients had gain in line of one line, and about 25% of the patients had 2 lines gain, and around 15% of the patient had three lines gain. So that showed that the excellent refractive correction that the patients developed. The mean endothelial cell density preoperatively was 3,000 and odd, and at the end of 2 years there was only a loss of about 5.4. So in our series, just one patient developed anterior subcapsular capacity, which didn't really need any surgical intervention. This could have been because of some retained viscoelastic. And 2 eyes had intraocular pressure postoperatively. And due to retained viscoelastic, which was relieved after oral acetazolamide. One patient had a loss of visual acuity after 2 years due to early macular degeneration. So in our very small series of patients of RIL, we had an excellent results, and definitely it's a very good alternative and should be considered in patients who cannot afford imported lenses, and the results are very good, very safe, and excellent in our hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata ma'am, for wrapping it around and giving a brief overview of these phakic lenses. I think you didn't disclose about the make of this lens that you're using, ma'am? So any particular company that you're using this? Apaswamy.